Hey, it's Charles with Anderson Custom Woodcraft, and today we're gonna make that. So, after about a year of having blankets piled up on our couch, my fiance decided she wanted a blanket rack, and we all know how that goes. The pieces of red oak I have here are scrapped cutoffs that I couldn't use because they had multiple bark inclusions, like that piece you see right there. And I couldn't use it for a cutting board, so this was the perfect project to put a little character in with those aspects. Most projects I make, I have some sort of plan or sketch to go along with what I'm doing. Here, the scrap wood really dictated what I could use. She sent me a post from Pinterest, and that's really what I'm going off of. Those long runners are going to be the front faces, and those shorter stubby ones are going to bring those faces out from the wall. Like I said, the wood really dictated this project. In hindsight, I really should have used pieces that were a little bit longer, so that would have given me more diameter to slide blankets behind these runners. A rabbet on the end of these runners helps seat the spacer, so it gives a more secure fit with not a lot of fasteners because these pieces are relatively small, and I wasn't sure how well it would fit, so I didn't really want to use wood glue. While this is red oak, and red oak tends to accept wood glue relatively well, or so I've heard, I wouldn't really trust the end grain to side grain connection anyways, especially since we're going to be, shoving blankets in here. Just a quick cleanup with the chisel and we're ready to move on to the other side. Once making two more spacers, we're ready to move on to the next step, which connects the two lower braces together and a separate brace which connects the two upper braces together. These cuts here dictate the width of the rack, whereas the longer runners dictate the height, and the spacers, those blocks there, dictate how wide of a blanket you can hold. And this is something I really found interesting with this project, was designing on the fly. These are three completely separate dimensions that I never would have used if I had planned this out, and as I'm looking at it on the wall right now, it looks quite well. Here I'm just finishing laying out the rabbets that will now be cut into the spacers. These thinner pieces will fit into the rabbet, and those thin pieces will then attach to the wall. Like I was saying earlier, these pieces are quite small, so here I'm marking out the precise location of the middle where this smaller wall piece will connect to the spacer. I didn't have a center punch or hammer laying around, so a screw and my knife will have to do. The assembly of this rack actually went rather smoothly. The rabbets made everything line up pretty well. A larger flat workbench definitely would have been better to assemble this instead of on the cast iron top of my table saw. Since the recording of this video, I have improved my basement shop greatly, and in later videos you will certainly see that improvement. This was perhaps the only awkward part of the whole operation. I had to figure out a way to make sure all this lined up well. As you can see, I have to ensure that the spacer is firmly seated in the rabbet. I also have to drill the hole and sink the screw all at once, and it was quite awkward. Separately reaming out the hole and adding the screw before reassembling was definitely the best thing I could have done in this situation. The only thing I may have done differently was clamp the vertical piece, but I would caution against that because that may cause the rabbet not to seat fully. I attached the other bracket before I attached the other runner, which I believe was a mistake. However, using these releasable quick clamps, it was easy to do. At this point, it was just rinse and repeat and hang it up. We have plaster walls and an inexpensive stud finder, so it's not always the easiest to find a stud. I haven't tried the magnet trick, and I don't want to purchase a magnet strong enough to find the screws. For me, the best method has been using a masonry drill bit and then using a wood bit to get into the stud. Once the top screw is attached and the runners are plumb, I can drive in the last screw. So this is the finished product without any blankets in it, obviously, and it's really a joy to notice it every once in a while. Please leave a comment with your opinion. Thanks for watching.